Good morning, dear students. I am Dr. Vasumathi, working as an associate professor in Vignan's Nirula Engineering College, Palakaluru. Now, today in this session, I want to present the cloud computing concepts, including the architecture. Okay, dear students, if you have heard with the word that is cloud, so in your mind, only two terms will be represented. What are those? Cloud is meant for storage. Okay, right? And what is the other? It provides many more services, right? Yes, definitely. This is what nothing but cloud provides many more services to the consumers. That is reason here the architecture is also based on this service. So we are having architecture means in general, students, you can assume that architecture means just like a normal block like and the normal hardwares, and these are the this is what you can observe, just like a normal like this you can observe, right? No, this is not the way, this is not that kind of. Okay, dear students, here you have to observe one thing, that is this is not totally the architecture based, this is totally the service based architecture. This is a service-based architecture based on the SOA concept, service-oriented architecture, because it provides many more services, and all the services, if the customer avails many more such services, it needs to provide, means that architecture, that design should be that much of scalable enough, means it has to meet the first concept, the first goal is nothing but the scalability. Okay, so the design goals is, the first one is nothing but the scalability. Yes, right, because of that, scalability must be provided. Because of that, the architecture should be that much of flexible enough, even if the number of users are increasing, number of users are more, and the unit provides such a specific services more, right? So because of this, the cloud is mainly completed service oriented on the basis of the service oriented architecture. Okay, so this is not just like a mission and all architecture block diagram, whenever, so that is nothing but in earlier days. In earlier days, architecture is mainly meant for, you can have such a block diagrams and all each and everything, right? So this is not that much of case. Okay, this is a quite different case. So here you have to understand all the times you should think in your mind, that is, it's a service based. The architecture is also service based architecture is. Okay, right? So here the specific design goals is, one very important goal is nothing but the scalability. Scalability means what? If the services are more, if the number of users are more, the architecture should be flexible to extend. It should be able to extendability must be there. Is it clear? Right. The number of users are going to be reduced day by day, because of day by day the trend is going to be changed. And in addition to that, you should think in mind the customer's desires and the customer's demands of the particular services, because this is a service oriented architecture. Okay, so because of that, the scalability, it should be able to extend, and if it is not that much of for a particular service, there is no such demand, then you can reduce that space. Okay, so this is nothing but the scalability is the first and foremost design goal in cloud computing architecture. Okay, right now. And the next one is reliability. What do you mean by reliability? Yes, dear students, it should be reliable enough, means you should have faith. Suppose if you are going to the market, then in the market, just for a particular one product, the cost he will declare one cost. Yes, is it that much of cost effective? Is it that much of having that much of worth? Yes, because you don't ask such questions in market, right? Have you ever? Never you did. Because you are having that much of a faith, that much of reliable on that particular product cost, and at the same time that service also. Is it clear, ma? This is what the way reliability means. If the product is working in that particular services, then all the services must be performed efficiently. That much of reliability you must possess. The cloud must possess. Okay, right? So here, because of the cloud is completely commercial purpose. The cloud computing concepts, you will implement these computing concepts totally for commercial purpose. So commercial purpose in the sense, so here you can observe this cloud computing. You can observe only the main two roles can act. One is cloud provider and another one is cloud user. So the cloud provider must provide the services and cloud user must utilize those services. So here the reliability must be there. The cloud provides all the just demands of the customer time being according to the trend. Yes, if you want to purchase any just design materials and anything else, then according to trend your desires will happen. Is it clear or not? So in that way, in such a pattern, the same thing is going to be happen in this concept also, ma. You have to interrelate this cloud architecture with your normal working patterns. Okay, right? So here the reliability must be very, very important aspect, design goal in the cloud architecture. Okay, is it clear? Next, cloud means the students, my dear students, you can observe one word. Cloud means for storage, and then most of the students can think that cloud means virtualization, which is not real. Which is not real. Everything is virtualized. Because of that much of resources you won't maintain. That is very highly impossible. So instead of that, just simply you will make everything as virtualization. So in its design goal, virtualization is a very, very important concept. Virtualization is, this is very important point, virtualization. So with the help of this virtualization, it can avail the hardware resources, software resources very efficiently. So by that, it is able to provide the services to the number of users even in that world. Is it clear? So that is how the virtualization and this scalability interlinked with each other. Virtualization concept and scalability, yes sir, these are two interlinked. If you are just having in your design, if your design is that much of flexible to extend, for extendability, that is scalability, maintaining the scalability, automatically you need to provide the virtualization because maintaining that much of resources is very typical. Is it clear? So totally this cloud computing totally based on the service oriented architecture. This is mainly based on service oriented architecture. The entire concept. This is not just like a fixed blocks, like even if the system crashes, the entire architecture goes fail. This is not just like that. This is totally service based. Totally service based. Okay, right. And when one another very important design goal is nothing but efficiency. Yes, of course, it is that much of efficient than all other architectures. That is how even for machine learning project, different projects we are using, we are running many more major applications with the help of data centers, and just we are using the public clouds for that, and many more such public cloud providers have been there, Amazon, Microsoft Azure, right, and Google App Engine, like this, many such public cloud providers will be there. With the aid of that, just we are utilizing these services. That is what efficiency. It is very efficient. And all the times, your design of a particular cloud architecture, your design should be that much of scalable enough, must be extendable, and must be reliable enough, and must be efficient, as well as to provide so many such services. It must be virtualized. Is it clear, ma? This is what nothing but the cloud architecture is. Okay, my dear students, these are all nothing but the design goals of the cloud computing architecture. Dear students, just now you have understand the concepts of the main basic of the cloud computing architecture, including the design goals. Okay, right. So many just generic view has been given. A generic view architecture. A generic view architecture of a cloud is nothing but it just connects a certain components, just servers and the particular software and the hypervisors and with the interconnecting network sources. So here it maintains the clusters of servers. These clusters of servers can be communicated through the interconnection, and for that interconnection you can go either with a B cube or MD cube. MD cube is proposed by View et al. Okay, right? So with that you can have the aid of the interconnectivity among all the clusters of servers, so thereby providing the services, providing the communication among all the clients and thereby the servers. Okay, so this is all in general view of a cloud architecture is just maintaining the servers and all, and including the particular software, including the clusters of servers and the several necessary components related to the interconnection of that particular architecture, entire architecture. This is what a generic view of a cloud computing architecture is. Whereas you can have just the brief information about the services of the cloud. What are the different services of the cloud, ma? Yes, very good, exactly. That is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Okay. So here, each and every service, according to each and every service, each and every layer is meant for each service. The architecture is planned, designed according to the service layers. According to the service layers. Okay. So this is nothing but a layered architecture. Layered architecture of a cloud is. Is it clear, ma? So here, the layered architecture, first and foremost in the bottom level, you can have all the hardwares, right? On hardware itself, on the top of the hardware you can have the standard OS, and on the standard OS you can have the VMM, that is the hypervisor. This is what you know very well. But here, according to this, the layered architecture, the hardware is nothing but the infrastructure. The hardware you can think it as a infrastructure. So here, this is infrastructure as a service layer. So this layer is meant for to provide the infrastructure services. Infrastructure as a service. Okay, right? The services related to the IaaS. And on top of this infrastructure as a service layer, you can have what are the remaining two services of cloud? Is platform as a service, software as a service. On top of infrastructure, can you have the software as a service layer? No, because that is directly related to through the client interface, that is directly related to the client. Okay, so immediately on top of infrastructure layer, which one you can have? Definitely that is OS, that is platform. So here, this is PaaS, platform as a service layer. Okay, on top of platform as a service layer, you can have the implementation of the software as a service. My dear students, please just understand the layers of each and every service. Infrastructure IaaS, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service 3 services, 3 layers in a particular flow. This is a layered architecture. So these are connected to the mainly through one VMM. These are directly connected to the applications, user applications. Okay, right? So this is what nothing but the layered architecture of a cloud is. Yes, my dear students, you can understand the SOA concepts, designing goals, and the layered architecture of a cloud. And also here you have to remember all the times related to the cloud computing concepts, that is cloud services. All cloud services, these services are mainly defined according to the client interest. The client is having giving so much interest on the IaaS, infrastructure as a service, then you need to provide much more as services. And if the clients are giving day by day, the trend is according to the changing trend and changing technology, the customer desires will change. Automatically you need to provide such very interested services. So here, this is totally a business for commercial purpose. So here, if you think about this architecture that I have given, this is totally according to the system oriented only. What about the customer? What about the customer oriented? Because this is cloud is commercial purpose, you have to think about the market, and you have to think about the customer, and you have to think about the cloud providers aspects. Means what? Total business aspect, total market aspects you have to think about. So yes, that is what another perspective. And on the other side of the coin, you can have a glance on the architecture of this cloud, that is totally market oriented architecture. So there you are giving much more importance to the cloud users. You can also call it as consumers. Okay, which all the times which will give the request for particular service. I want this service, and for my organization this service needs to provide, and give me the cloud for this much of time duration, like this, many more services. Okay, from the cloud you can get the requests. Okay, from the customers you can get the requests, and at the same time the brokers will be there. Okay, so this is what totally according to the system, internal system. But on the other side of the coin, the market you have to observe, and according to the market price, so many service request access controllers will be there. So those are responsible for pricing, billing, accounting, and monitoring all these actions. Okay, right? So that is a service level request access controller, admission controller will be there. That is nothing but the SLA. That is a service level architecture. So SLA request access control will be there. That is responsible for considering the time being interest, demands, desires from the cloud consumers. Okay, either through brokers or through directly from the personal interest, just they can have the information, and thereby giving much more services to the consumers. Okay, right? So this is one another aspect. That is nothing but the market oriented approach. Okay, yes ma'am. So these three are the different layers. A generic layer of a cloud computing architecture, and the next one is a layered architecture of a cloud computing, and the third one is market oriented architecture. Okay, right? So dear students, please go through this once again, and please understand the concept of all these cloud concept thoroughly. Thereby you can understand, if you have just completed this entire concept thoroughly, you can go ahead the next concept very easily. Okay, thank you dear students, thank you all once again, thank you. Right.